You have entered the Chronics rabbit hole, and NF fans, we are reacting to NF talks about success, fans, and his new album Hope, which is back on track. An interview by Stoked, and I have never seen what Stoked does. Very excited to see this interview.
30 years of running, 30 years of searching, 30 years of hurting, 30 years of pain, 30 years of fearful, 30 years of anger, 30 years of empty, 30 years of shame.
If y'all are new to the channel, my name is Chronic. If you are not new to the channel, you know that this has been father-son reactions to NF normally. Right now, my son is not here, but the reason why is he's not much into interviews himself. I'm big into interviews and finding out more about the artist, and I've started to love NF Nathan himself a lot as a person, and I definitely wanted to know more about his background, so I've took it on myself to check out this new interview that came out a few weeks ago to try to understand more about Nathan, his story, his past. I started with Hope. That's the first song I heard. That's the one that Avery introduced me to. And since then, I've been hooked, and I've definitely needed a rapper in my life again because I like the side that it brings out of me. And very excited to see more about Nathan because him as a man now, and we're both in our 30s. I haven't gone through similar things as him, but I was in a downtime in my 20s, and it looks like he's now out of it. The things that it's done for Avery with now wearing that Hope sweater that he got, and the power that it gives him and the pride he has in it. And that's because of you, Nathan, so thank you for that. You're a big role model for him, and we're excited to come see you perform in Calgary when you do come here. So if you do hear this, we're excited to see you, but also very excited to listen to this interview. I read some of the comments. It's very, it looks like it's going to be a good interview. You guys did a good job, and without further ado, thank you guys for being here.
Hope's the hardest video I've ever shot.
Ooh.
What's up? This is NF, and you're watching Stoked Back on Track.
Always with the hat and the hoodie.
I don't think I really have like an earliest memory. I just remember at a young age, I don't know like the specific earliest memory, I guess, but just like falling in love with like listening to music. I started writing it just because of how much I loved to hear it. And yeah, I just became super passionate about it at a pretty young age, probably like 11 or 12 years old. First lyrics I wrote were probably...
So let me know what music got you into it, viewers, and the band that got me into music itself at the same age of 11 and 12 was Linkin Park. So I started my rap and my rock, metal, new metal type of two veering paths, and so that's really cool. That's when he started getting into it as well.
Probably about a bunch of stuff that wasn't true. I mean, I was just rapping about like what other rappers would rap about. So I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just rapping about whatever, like being from the streets, and which I definitely wasn't.
Nice.
But you know, that's just like what I was listening to. So it's like that's how I rap. I fell in love with Eminem stuff at a pretty early age. He's definitely my biggest influence.
Oh my God.
I listened.
Well, like, I wanted to say it, but, like, you just don't want to obviously just assume because he's white and blah, blah, blah. But that's really cool to know that he's very influenced. Heaviest influence is Eminem. And likewise, that was the first rapper that I was heavily influenced by was Eminem. The first 3 albums that were the bangers, totally, I was hooked into them. I listened to basically Linkin Park and Eminem anytime I went over to my dad's house because my parents are split, so I would always go to my dad's house, and those are the 2 artists that always stick with me, so that's really cool.
When I was younger, I listened to Lecrae. As I got a little older, I fell in love with like Ed Sheeran. There was like a pretty huge gap where I was like basically just listening to Eminem and just started writing my own raps and stuff. Hollywood Undead, one of their albums, I liked some of their songs. And then yeah, Ed Sheeran, Adele, I started listening to music that wasn't just like rap.
Yeah, because we just listened to All I Have, and he had a very soulful side to him, like Adele and Ed Sheeran. So he kind of has that R&B side to him that he can throw in. And Lecrae, I believe, is a Christian rapper, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. So that's really cool as well.
As I got a little older, yeah, my first record, like independently, I guess, was called Moments. Pretty terrible. I made some of my own beats on there. I used to record at a studio called Guitar Sound Studio in Coleman.
I'm gonna have to write down Moments for a second. Moments? I have to see if Avery knows about Moments.
Michigan. And so some of the songs are from that. I think it's easy to take for granted sometimes, like what you have, especially if you've like made it, you can get used to it. But I think stuff like that, and then just going out and playing live shows, like remind you like where you came from for sure. Because I remember doing shows for like 4 or 5 people, you know what I mean? So now it's crazy I can travel around and perform for thousands. Probably my first album, Mansion, I feel like I could feel like a little shift where I was like, oh, people are like actually kind of listening to my music now. And then I feel like on my second record, Therapy Session, I noticed.
And just before we get to Therapy Session, Mansion is the album that Avery and I are going through right now. So make sure, if you guys have not seen any of our reactions, obviously check out all of our NF, but we're going through from the beginning now to catch up to hopefully where his current music is before we go and see NF live, so we can get the full story. And definitely Wait is the next song we're doing from the Mansion album. So definitely check it out. We'll throw it up there so you guys can see it.
Like the live aspect, when I started playing clubs and stuff like that, I started noticing that because you're seeing it in real time. Like, oh, I had no one at my shows, and now 350 kids, or in this city 500. It's like that's probably where I really noticed like the shift of like, oh, maybe I'm actually like gonna do that.
I am aware it's aggressive. I am not here for acceptance. I don't know what you expected, but what you expect when you walk in a therapy session.
I don't know who it was more therapeutic for, but I started really realizing how therapeutic music was for me in that process, for sure. It was definitely like a place for me to go and write my feelings. I think it's awesome. I mean, I think music's one of the most powerful things ever.
If you want love, you gon' have.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. There's a psychologist that said what one song can do to someone, it can sometimes take a psychologist or someone like 20 years to get the same impact of what that one song can do for someone with the triumph or just the recurrence of listening to that song and what it can do to you to move forward. Music's definitely therapy for me as well. So like I said, in my previous reactions, I need to react as well by myself so I can get my therapy outside of everyone else, so I can fully get my thoughts out as well. So I totally get what it means, and I love making music myself, and that's something that this channel has helped me get back into doing.
Have to go through the pain. If you want love, you gon' have to learn how to change.
That album, I would say, was the record. I didn't try to remember every song on it, but I'd say it was probably the record where I kind of honed in on my sound. The beginning of like really honing in on my sound. Also, just has my biggest song ever on it, so I'm obviously super proud of that moment on that record. Oh, it's actually kind of crazy. I think like the week
Biggest
before
song.
or the week.
And which one's the biggest song? It might have been the one that was just playing, but I haven't heard it before, and I missed the song title, so y'all can let me know that.
Week after Therapy Session came out, I recorded Let You Down, and then I was sat on it for like a year and a half. I mean, I was making the record, but it was like the first song I made, like first or second. There's 2 songs I made in those couple days, and that was one of them. And it's crazy because year and a half later it came out. It's the biggest song I ever made. So.
Right now, I wish that I could say I'm proud. I'm sorry that I let you down. Let you down.
I was fortunate that I kind of had a core fan base before the radio song, and then if you get a song to pop off like that song did, it just adds fuel to the fire. So it definitely like increased the size of my shows, but also I think it was exciting for like people who were hardcore fans of me to see. I think it's always cool for like fans to see an artist. You know, if I was a fan of someone and I went to their show and there was 20 people there, and then the next year I went and there was 500, and then the next year I went, there's 2,000. I feel like that'd be kind of cool to see, like, oh, I watched this person, like I kind of came up with this person.
As a fan, to answer, because that's what you're kind of pondering, yes, that would be amazing. I know many bands from my hometown on Vancouver Island that have gone big, and I saw them when they were like just doing little shows at parties that I was at, and now they're like performing big time. And even like I heard of Spirit Box. I never listened to them, but when Spirit Box was starting to get big, I heard of them, and they're from here where I was from. So like to know how many diehards he did have, and I know he has diehards because Avery is a crazy diehard that just has so much information about you, Nathan, and as everyone else knows who are fans of NF, there's so much to know about him because of how open he is, clearly. So really cool.
Yeah. It was kind of overwhelming, honestly. It's like the thing you wished for, but like I never experienced that many eyes on me or whatever. So it was like a little overwhelming for sure. And then just I had never done any press and stuff, which I don't really like doing. So that was kind of like shocking to start doing that kind of stuff, interviews and all the questions, and then just, you know, a lot of pressure, like pressure that I'd never, when you start your career, it's like no one knows you, no one's like listening to you, and you're just kind of doing what you do, and then you feel more pressure as like more people are watching you and stuff.
Oh, ain't that something?
Yeah, and like I'm not gonna say anything that it's close to like having eyes in physical in front of you, but like having the camera and then seeing more views on our videos and just seeing all the subs now and all the support is what it's like you said, it's what you wanted. But then when it hits to a cap where you weren't ever quite thinking it was going to get to, and you're never kind of prepared for how many eyes are on you, if you could feel it. And Thumbnail Lady is definitely someone that gets affected by the camera a bit more than I do, so she can even attest to that more. But to know that he's still experiencing that and it still feels weird, that makes sense. And we're actually going to see Nathan perform, and we have VIP tickets, but I don't know if he sees people face to face because maybe of the nerves, or just, you know, also people have their own choice and they can do whatever they want. But it's interesting to just hear him say it. That's also very cool.
Drums came in, you ain't see that coming. Hands on my head, can't tell me nothing. Got a taste of the fame, it'll pump my stomach. Throw it back up like I don't want it. Wipe my face, clean up my vomit. OCD trying to push my buttons. I said don't touch it. Now y'all done it.
Music videos are a big part of how I like to market my music. Because sometimes when you hear something, like it's like I said, I like movies, and I feel like if you muted the music in a movie, you're not gonna feel the same, right? So sometimes I like to, at least the music videos I do, I like to let the music video kind of help paint the picture. If you just listen to Hope by itself, you might picture that there's two versions of me at the end, but like obviously I wanted to create that visual the way I wanted to. That way when you experience the song, you experience the visual the way I want you to see it. I like movies, so I like to tie records together.
That's so good.
You know, just like movies will have moments where you get to the end and you're like, oh, that was about this earlier or whatever. I like movies, so I like to do that in my music videos.
I know you've been praying for my soul.
Hope's the hardest video I've ever shot. A lot of times for videos, I sit with one of my friends. We direct all the videos together. We've been working together for like 8-9 years, I think, and we just get together. I show him the song. We go over concepts and we map out the whole video. And it varies on how long things take sometimes, because sometimes I like to shoot for the moon, and then I'm usually way over budget. and then I try to dial it in the best I can without sacrificing like too much of the creative, but not be too crazy. But
that's
yeah,
a
man,
smart
I mean,
approach.
videos are super expensive, and to do them the way I want, like to get a raft like that, I mean, that raft was probably 5,000 pounds after it got waterlogged. So when you're setting a 5,000 pound raft on the beach, you know, the tide started coming in and pushing it and moving it, and we needed it to stay in the place it was on shore. So it's
Yeah.
just things like that, like no one would ever think of, that were a
Right.
nightmare. You got 15, 20 guys with ropes trying to drag it to the place it's supposed to be, and then you're trying to beat the tide while you're filming. The first day we got there for Hope, the power was out in the hotel we were in, because we're in the middle of like nowhere, Oregon. So, you know, we were on the water for
Nice.
hours and hours, and we only got to shoot an hour and a half because there was such a massive storm, which it doesn't look like in the video, but if I posted like a behind the scenes clip, you'd be shocked that it was even the same day. So there's a
that'd be
lot
cool
that
to
goes
see.
into it. But it is one of my passions of my music. I feel like it's the period at the end of the sentence. It's the thing that's like puts it over the finish line, in my opinion.
I can agree, because all of his music videos have been incredible, and they definitely hit the point and they add that period to what he's trying to say. I completely agree with that, because Hope, which he said is the hardest one he's ever made, was the first one I got to see, so it's probably one of the best ones he's ever produced, even though he's saying it might not be his biggest song ever, because the Let You Down or Let Me Down, whichever it was called, I haven't seen it yet, that was his biggest hit. But this is, he's so on point, because you can tell he does love movies and what it adds to it, and as a movie lover, and especially like our family as movie lovers, that's probably why we also like him as well. And he's a storyteller, and knowing that Eminem's, you know, one of the best storytellers as well when he's rapping, and he mixes a bit of Adele with his rap. Now I can kind of see his two styles that he has, and it's really impressive. Good people to admire.
What's my definition of success? Listening to what your heart says.
You have to do more than just like write about your problems in music if you want to have your personal life improve. I think I struggle with that, where it's like, yes, music is therapeutic and I can write my feelings, but also I think in your life you got to try to take other steps, you know, whether it's therapy or whatever it is. I mean, the sound, I was just trying to do some different things musically. Some of it's just like where I want to go in my life. Like, I want to feel more hopeful. I want to feel more joy. I want to feel that, and it's kind of like the journey of that, I guess. One of my favorite songs on the record's called Happy, and I love that record because when you listen to it, it feels like it's very catchy, but when you actually listen to what I'm saying, it's not just like some pop song. It's like, I feel like really relatable, but also such an interesting concept, because if you ask anybody like, oh, do you want to be happy? Everyone's gonna say, yeah. For me personally, I do want to be happy, but also I've felt the way I've felt so long. It feels like it's part of my identity to be like struggling, and I've also been praised for it, you know, all these years. Not like, obviously I'm not blaming anyone. It's like I put out the music and people relate to it. A lot of people feel that way. But I'm just saying, I feel like there's this like weird inner struggle of like, who would I even be if I was happy or like different than I am.
Dang. I don't think that was a slip to say, who would I be if I were happy? Because I don't think life is 100% the pursuit of happiness, and obviously you want to have happiness. Like, that hope is to have that happiness in your life as much as you can have, but there's times in your life that are so tragic and so traumatic where it's hard to be happy. So it's not like you can just be happy. So, but you can still play that song to make it sound like a poppy song in a way, while still having some really hard, real facts that are being said, even personal facts. And that's what he does very well, and we'll definitely throw up our happy reaction as well, because that was a very moving song, and it's just really cool to see what type of a man Nathan is and what he's becoming and what he's wanting, because we're all not there, but what he's aiming for now is a lot higher than probably what he was aiming for at any time in his life, it sounds like. So especially after what he's gone through, that's really encouraging and makes me want to make sure I'm aiming as high as I can for my family and myself.
Living in my agony, watching my self-esteem go up in flames, acting like I don't.
I'd like to make something that shocks everybody how different it is, but it's not so different that it's like too off-putting. Yeah. I'm not just saying I'm doing it for everyone else. I want to do that even for myself. I want to make something where I'm like, that doesn't sound like anything anyone's doing, and it doesn't sound like what I've done, but still not tough. Be like so out there that no one can like connect to it. Appreciate the support, and I'll see you on tour this fall.
Wow. Well, we'll see you on tour this fall as well, Nathan. And what's really cool, and a suggestion I would have as a fan now, either you want to feature with someone, or you can just try to change the genre on purpose and try to incorporate your rap into it, because I think rap can fit with anything, especially how you sing. Or you could go full Adele mode and really get that soul side out. Like, I even remember when Snoop Dogg did Sensual Seduction, I think it was called, but it was still like such a cool, groovy R&B type of a beat, and I think you would do really good. I think that would throw some people for a good loop. It would be a fun ride. It's not necessarily new, so I don't know how to tell you how to do something completely new, because I only know how to use the wheel and then try to get somewhere with it. So it's very hard to create something new. I can understand that, and try not to push it too far where you're going to throw off your fans and be too off-putting, and I respect that. So I hope that challenge goes well for you and you find something new out of that, because we're very much looking forward to that. And if you do get something, hopefully you throw it into the tour so then we all can see it. It's really cool to see the style of interviewing that I think it was Stacked or Stoked. The Stoked people, what they did for this interview was really cool. It was very story-based, starting from, I think it was 1996 or something, all the way to now and what's next. As we are starting our own interviewing podcast, Storytime with ETC, and we have interviewers and podcasters and artists coming on for interviews. It was really cool to see how they are interviewing Nathan here, how it was just 11 minutes, but it still captured a lot of what you needed. It was very to the point, but it got through all of like the main points. It felt like it didn't feel like anything was completely missing. Nathan felt very comfortable. It looked like he was feeling very comfortable there. And they had a really great interview. I got to learn a lot of things, even some things to bring up to my son now that hopefully he hasn't heard Mansions, or now we get to react to Mansions, because that's something, or not Mansions, well, Moments, sorry y'all. It was Moments, not Mansions, but Moments was, I guess, his first one that he did. So that's really cool. I wanted to learn something more about him and to find out why my son Avery likes him so much, and I can see why. It's awesome that he loves Eminem as well. So I just feel a lot more personal connections to him, which I love to try to find those things that you can really relate with people that you start admiring. And very looking forward to seeing NF perform in Calgary in August. I hope you guys are excited for that as well. If you guys are having a good time with us and want to see our next reaction, which will be with my son Avery, the song is Wait. Hit that subscribe button and notification bell to make sure you are there when it comes. We are exiting the rabbit hole now, folks. Thank you so much. Peace and love, y'all. God bless.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more Enter the Chronicness.
Special shout out to all of our patrons and YouTube members. We appreciate all of your support.